Let's check out what Bellular
is
has
changing.
to say.
9.2.5 is finally bringing us some Azerothian content. And when I think about my favorite quests in Shadowlands, they're kind of the ones where we went back to Azeroth with the Carians. Remember that one with the villager in Redridge? I mean, that was like one of the best quests they had. There's actually more coming. So today, I'm going to give you the lowdown on how 9.2.5 is bringing us home. And to get ready, though, for what is to come, I do have some good news. The re-released Dragon audiobooks are now out, and you can listen to them for free with a free trial to today's sponsor, Audible, using my link down below in the description.
Not often do I suggest, well, I always suggest it as a joke, go to the person's, advertisement and you use their code name and all that shit. But these Audible books for World of Warcraft are actually fucking amazing. They are a great way to get the lore when you're driving around in your car. I personally love them. And honestly, I wish Audible would give me a key because I would have suggested to you guys. But there you go.
You know the whole Galakron story?
Go to the description.
The story where the aspects literally become the aspects?
Yeah.
Well, that's all told in the book, Dawn of the Aspects. It's a foundational piece of Dragonflight lore, and it's a great 14-hour listen. The book follows the dragons from
14 hours, holy shit.
Drake to
you need a road trip for that one.
And of course, in Dragonflight, we actually face down the Primal Incarnates, who are directly tied to Galakron, and I certainly have some theories on that. So hit up the Audible link down below, and remember, once it is added to your account via the free trial, it's yours forever, even if you cancel the subscription. So a big thanks to Audible for supporting the channel. Loads of the Warcraft library is there for you to enjoy. Let's get into the video. Change has came to both Stormwind and Orgrimmar on the PTR. This one was a bit of a mystery. Stormwind first then. So beside the Stockades post box, we've got a new cart. There's a worker NPC and Unessa, who gives us a quest to reclaim some stolen goods in the harbor. Now, around the cart, we got art, various...
We actually took time to analyze this cart the other day. And we were like, where are all these items from? And I think we determined the Horde side did have some Zandalari items in it. But here we see, I think, we found out that some of this maybe was Kultiris related. Honestly, this looks like it's from Suramar, if I had to guess. And the rest is just some human stuff. Maybe this is from Karazhan. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Karazhan, but it's probably just a picture of any random old dude. But some of this stuff just seemed like it had come from certain places within the world.
Pots, ale, sleeping bag, some plushies. Now,
it's definitely traveling related gear
from the Sea Braids. Now, the Sea Braids are only really referenced in the Sea Braid Stallion mount from BFA.
Kultiris.
And its flavor text just doesn't help us much here, but I can assume they are some group of people from Kultiras who do have booty to sell. Now,
do you guys say Kultiras or Kultiris? I'd say Kultiris. I don't know. Okay. It doesn't
beside
matter,
the tree, well, that's where we see that the cooks are gone, replaced by workers. And along the wall of a nearby house, there is a stable. The quest line is simple enough. You get some missing merch from a thief, then you toss some water on a few lazy workers. And once that's done, those workers
get back to work,
at
bitches.
The quest giver, and they start working on just whatever is being built at that tree. Now, clearly, they're working with the Sea Braids. To set up a shop or something? I'm not really sure. Now, they're clearly working with the Kultirans. And of course, if I think about that, well, the Kultiran Navy is important to the Alliance. And we do know that Dragonflight is going to bring with it some form of minor update to the Stormwind and Orgrimmar harbors.
Right, yep.
And I suppose that kind of reminds me of the pre-wrap...
The harbor updates have always been fun for me. I don't know why. And mind you, I played Alliance like my whole life. But it always felt like I was excited to go see what the harbor changed. And I remember when they added this entire harbor to Stormwind, this was a badass new zone, like an area to come to. And I think, if I remember right, what expansion was this added in? God. Was it Cata? No, Cata destroyed this area. Cataclysm. Then we had Mists. After Mists, was it Wad that this harbor got added in? Oh, God, I don't remember. Maybe it was Mists. Maybe it was Mists. What are we doing today? We are doing Lords of Dread. We're picking up the viewer raid where we left off. Pursuing the pursuit of AOTC continues today, Gunka.
Wrath of the Lich King events.
We also have a break, which might occur before this raid even forms. I have a meeting at 8 o'clock that's supposed to last 40 minutes. So we're going to watch some Kalia Menethil Undead lore and Tauren lore while I'm in that meeting. But we're trying to form up raid, and we're going to get some Lord of Dreads pulls in.
Where in patch 9. No, patch 2.4.3,
that meeting's in about half an hour.
We saw construction begin on the harbor as we actually know it today. Now the Horde have got themselves a similar quest line as well. You catch a thief, you wake up some workers, and you return to find that the workers are back to work. Something I noticed, after you've woken them up and you come back to the NPC, there are more workers in the area. Now, all the new NPC has to say is, not much here for you to look at yet. But then, I log into the PTR after like a week or two, and guess what happened? Things changed a little bit. Now, there's actually a larger, more established-looking stable building.
Yeah, the stable's really got
really does look a lot more high-poly than things around it, which is kind of awkward, and Org actually has similar. So this is a mystery. Now, being the epilogue patch to the expansion, you could perhaps imagine that these quests are going somewhere, that they could be setting something up. I mean, what's the deal with a few merchants getting set up? Why would Blizzard do quests where we help these merchants? What's going on? What's it all for?
Why indeed?
I don't really know. As for the new stable, I mean, maybe that's for, like, mount skill learning once people are done with Exile's Reach.
Okay, look at the stable. This looks kind of high, don't you guys think? Like, this is an extremely high ceiling stable. But at the same time, the dragons that we've seen from Dragonflight, like the images they show where the person's on top of the dragon and you're customizing it and all that, they look bigger than this. So I don't know if the height of this, we've talked about, could it be a stable for dragons? I don't know. I don't know if this will fit a dragon based on what I've seen. So what these stables are for, we really have no idea. Maybe it's like a baby whelpling dragon that's supposed to take you out to the Dragon Isles. I have no idea.
Perhaps.
Good luck today. Have
But
to
for
get my
now,
oil
let's go
changed.
to
Hopefully
Terrace
make
Fall.
it later. Sounds good, JC. We're probably,
Okay,
honestly, we're probably not going to start raid for another hour and a half because I have a meeting in like half an hour.
This is Terrace Fall Glades right now. The map looks pretty rough. And here is data mine minimap assets from the
little bit of Kalia Menethil pre-video
so
here.
Looks better, right? It seems that Brill may be in a better spot, and those fires have finally stopped burning a bit.
Yep.
Now, per interviews, Kalia Menethil is going to be involved in some way, which does fit there being
Okay, lines up with me then.
encrypted
Sounds
model
good.
for her on the public test realm. Now, of course,
They definitely wouldn't be adding that stuff for nothing. I agree. The stables are there for a reason. We just have not
role of
figured out the
Kalia
reason.
is a little bit of a controversial thing. She's a light-forged sort of undead.
Well, one second. Let me re-edit the title of our stream since we're really becoming a lore stream
which
today.
is, I mean, essentially a new thing for the Warcraft setting. Then, she's the heir to Lordaeron, given that Arthas is dead, her father's dead, but obviously times have changed. It took a while for her to come out into the open, that's one thing. She really hasn't been through the struggle of the Forsaken, not really. They forged their own identity, so a lot of players don't love the idea of some rich noble traipsing in and being like, oh, well, you are my people, so I get to rule you. It feels a bit weird. Now, as it stands, Kalia is a member of the Horde Council, standing in for the Forsaken, but it's not like she's their leader. Now, she did travel to Shadowlands, I believe, with Talia, but well, she didn't really do much at all, did she? Of course, for 925, we're thinking along the lines of, like, there's some of the Sylvanas Dark Rangers, as well as the Risen Night Elf Rangers that Kalia did help deal with Undeath.
True.
Towards the...
Yeah, these Dark Rangers were, like, strictly, like the Forsaken followed Sylvanas, but these Rangers were, like, part of Sylvanas' like, internal orgy clan, right? Like, they followed her to the T. So where do they go now? Because they can't follow Sylvanas into the Maw. So they're here now, and I guess they're remaining loyal to the undead. Here they are, representing the undead, or at least the Horde side of the undead. Basically, they're representing the Forsaken, and then you have the Alliance side right here. So we're gonna see. I know people have been talking about like, oh, make Blood Elves customizable to the point where you can make a look like this, where you can become a Dark Ranger. And Blizzard hasn't really hinted that they're going to do that, but it's been a big player comment, right? Because technically now the Dark Rangers are part of the Horde Forsaken. They're not really just, pawns or little followers of Sylvanas anymore.
End of BFA, and I suppose
Sounds good,
Derek
Gunka.
Proudmore, I wonder if he would appear back. There's also a quest that has been data mined where Alliance players seem to head to Terrasfall to spy on whatever's going on. So I suppose expect to learn more of the Forsaken's fate and their internal affairs in 925. Next then,
The Forsaken
other
and the
city
Night
that
Elves are
got
going to play.
destroyed.
I think some roles coming up.
There's not much to say here other than Toronto.
Speaking of the Night Elves, there we go. They are the refugees left over from BFA that really have not addressed anything in the last expansion besides Tyranda's chasing down of Sylvanas, right? So they're coming back to Azeroth. We're leaving Orbo, so we're leaving the Shadowlands, thankfully. Oh my god, fucking thank God we're going back to Azeroth. But everyone can go back home except the Forsaken and the Night Elves. So we're going to have to deal with this situation now where we have refugees on both sides.
Toronto has a new animation where she appears to be carrying something. And then there was a new model for something called the Queen's Gift.
She does appear to be carrying something. I didn't even pay attention to that. She's holding some, I don't know, what could that be? Malfurion's balls? Maybe? The way she's cradling them? It could be. Illidan's balls? Both of their balls? I don't know.
And then there was a new model for something called the Queen's Gift that basically looks like a big tier of a loon wild seed thing. And there's also an encrypted cinematic that references it.
So when this came up, I'm going to pause right here. Hold on. People were saying maybe you plant it and create a new world tree. We burned down the last tree. How do you create a tree? You plant the seed, right? You plant a seed and a tree sprouts. This could be the beginning of the new Night Elf home, right? You plant the seed, create a new world tree. Night Elves go climb up the tree and live there.
Wild seed thing. And there's
Maybe.
also an encrypted cinematic that references it.
What's up, Rez,
So-
please? Good morning.
I don't know, what's it to be? I mean, could we see a restoration of Night Elf lands via the planting of this gift? I know some people speculate it may
Maybe.
be planted at the sword. And that
no,
would sort
no.
of fit Blizzard playing with the what sword meme, but I really do imagine that the sword will be used
I don't
for
think that's what's
something
going
else
to happen.
quite a bit
Yeah.
down the line.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? They could always just fix up Teldrassil with it. I mean,
They could.
there's nutrients in that ash.
Hey, in real life, right? When a forest burns down, what does it do? It creates a very nutritious soil, right? Everything that's been burned creates a very nice place for new plants to grow. So hey, maybe the burned down tree, you go plant the seed right there. You got all new Darnassus rebuilt, and Darnassus will be created from more than just 2 polygons. Because if you've ever seen it, I love Darnassus personally. Have some attachment to it because it was the first city I ever saw in World of Warcraft. I played a Night Elf Hunter first tune I ever made back in 2005. But man, that place needed an update. It looked really bad.
Right? It can clear the way for some new growth.
What sword? KW,
maybe.
yeah, exactly.
And unlike Teldrassil, whatever comes
Exactly.
from this wild seed thing, it will kind of like have the blessing that Teldrassil had always lacked. No need to go through all of the Teldrassil lore, but basically TLDR, Fandral just kind of went off on his own and he was a pretty loopy dude. Now, I do believe that a few Night Elf refugees got displaced with some of those Stormwind changes, so perhaps, maybe they've got somewhere to go? Maybe?
Maybe.
Who knows? Who knows where that seed could get planted? But the Queen's Gift was given to Deronda for some reason, so expect a storyline there. We then
Racial
have a
quest
set of
lines.
new racial quest lines. There's one for the Dark Iron Dwarves, another for the Blood Elves. Now, the Dark Iron one is a bit more short and simple. Its rewards are awesome, though.
I honestly don't remember Darnassus after I left my Night Elf. I never looked back. Yeah, I do remember running to Darnassus because I knew that there were in-game cities. Now, mind you, I didn't know that like the hub for the Alliance back then was Ironforge. I was just like, I love my Night Elf. I love this lore. I love the look of this place. I want to see the Night Elf city. And I remember like looking up how to get there. And I, without a mount, footed it to Darnassus. And I thought it was the coolest city. And the music starts where it's like, doo, doo. I mean, wait, let me find it. Let me find it. Because I want to get you guys in this moment. When I first entered Darnassus, mind you, I'm like a 15-year-old playing my first ever MMO. And I ran as fast as I could to Darnassus. And is this the music? Yeah. Picture this, 15-year-old Sam footing it on his hunter. And on my laptop, on my shitty non-gaming laptop, and I'm looking around and I'm going, "Whoa. This place is awesome. This game is huge, bro." And then you see you entering and you walk by a giant ent because there was this big ent in the entrance. And I'm looking around, I'm thinking, this is the coolest game ever. This is the fucking coolest game ever. And I just remember like looking around thinking, how big is this world? How many people are here? And mind you, I'm in Darnassus. There was like fucking nobody there at the time. But I'm looking around, I'm just thinking, this game has unlimited potential. And I could not wait to keep venturing out and learning more and doing more. And I was so excited to play at that time. And man, like people play classic versions of the game now, but you will never get back those experiences. The nostalgia to get those feelings again, it's just hard to re-experience a first time, right? Madonna said it best, like a virgin touched for the very first time. We were, a lot of us were MMO versions. A lot of us, WoW was our first MMO. And experiencing those things for the first time was just, as far as gaming goes, was a fucking emotional experience. It was just crazy. And it changed my life forever. Shit, look at me now. I'm married with 3 kids. It's 2022. That was 2005. I'm still playing this game. Those moments just hooked me in, man. I'm just emotionally tied to this game. Nothing I can do about it. Nothing I can do about it. Same with Silvermoon. You had a similar experience with Silvermoon. I can see it. Hell yeah, 5 FPS, exactly. Exactly. And here we are 15 years later. Yep, exactly. But I'll continue the Bellular video. Enough about my
Basically,
my little
these
nostalgia
Dark
trip
Iron
there.
weapons were in the game files, but there wasn't a way to get them. Now there is a way. And honestly, they look so cool that I kind of want to roll a warrior for them. I mean, just look how cool
The
those
Dark
weapons
Iron Dwarves
so
are badass.
That's pretty nice. Okay, also, the Blood Elves. They're a bit more interesting. They have a quest line that has been played on the PTR. I'm not going to fully spoil it for you, but
Okay.
it's
I haven't played
basically all
this
about
out.
the defense
Obviously, I
of
don't
their
do PTR.
homeland now that the Scourge have no centralized controlling force. And I
Sure.
actually love what Blizzard have done
I think
here
that's
with the
so cool.
story. It's a way for Blizzard to have no Lich King, no Zoval, but still make the Scourge potentially a more interesting threat.
Yeah.
Essentially, the
Why not?
strongest of the Scourge now lead the weak. The Sand Lane are back, that's another thing. And
The Sand Layan are back. Oh shit! Somebody talked about, oh, will the Sand Layan be the new? Because remember we talked about there is an allied race supposedly coming with the launch of the next expansion, or the pre-launch stuff where you pre-order, you get access to a allied race. That was in a leak where so far everything else in the leak was correct. So it was on 4chan. So we talked about who that allied race can be, and somebody said, oh, the Sand Layan could be the new allied race, and I said, no. They're not really in the game right now. Like, they're not part of the new expansion. Well, I stand corrected. I didn't realize they were part of this quest line. I still personally don't think it's going to be the Sand Layan, but now I was incorrect, it looks like. They are part of the storyline with the Scourge coming back and stuff.
I just love it. So not only do we get just a great quest line that just feels like, good old shenanigans, we also get the ability.
Yeah, leveling a
because of
Dark
how they
Iron
set
Dwarf
this
probably
up,
would be
to
fun.
tell
Rest,
more
please.
Scourge stories in the future, and in a way where they will feel different to the ones we've had thus far. I mean,
yeah, I
going
like the fact
around
that
Duskwood-
Blizzard is not just shelving the Scourge, right? They're part of the world. We need to see something happening with them. They could have easily just said, well, the Lich King's gone, the Scourge don't matter. But I'm happy to see that they're not taking that route, that they're actually trying to tell a story of what is happening with a leaderless, Lich King-less Scourge. And I think that's going to be cool to see.
But it was never like, oh, the Lich King's plan. It was just, spooky stories with skeletons and ghouls and things.
Yep.
It was nice. In the Ghostlands, that was a whole, was it Darkan Darthir or whatever? He was basically just a warlord. So I think that those sorts of stories are great, and I really like how Blizzard have set up the Scourge to just be an ongoing thing in the world.
Yeah.
Another important thing, though, is a character is back from the Burning Crusade. Salandria. She's all grown up now, and she was, of course, first seen in the Burning Crusade's Children's Day.
I love it when they do this shit. I love it when we see... I mean, Burning Crusade, how long ago was that now? When did BC launch? When did Burning Crusade... I want to say it was probably 2007, but I got to look it up. 2007. January 16, 2007 was when BC released. So, 2007 to 2022... We've got, oh, Jesus, 27, that's, hold on, let me do math, people, let me do math, 15 years? 15 years? Right? I did that right, I think? 15, yeah. So look at that. Look at that. She grew up, right? She was a kid 15 years ago. If she was, say she was 5 here, she's 20 now. So it's cool to see these characters grow up in like real time, right? Real years. So that is cool. I love when they do this kind of stuff.
The guards try to attack her, but Zaladormu stops them, saying that she can't be punished for the things that she might do or fail to do in the future. Now that is interesting, because she either does or fails to do something in the future. That's what those bronzes saw.
Love that shit.
Now after Children's Week, you get a mail from her. And you find out the Leodrin has taken her in. And there's a few interesting bits of information with this character. I mean, first, it's just nice to see some continuity go on. But when she got a dragon toy, she said, "Someday I plan to own a real one." So that's kind of funny, going into Dragonflight. And then when you find a coin that she flipped into the Dalaran fountain, the flavor text read, "Someday I'm going to be more powerful than all the mages."
What the hell, man? How deep does this lore go?
Is that just a kid full of ambition, right? Fired up to go on adventures? I mean, hey, it does make sense. And
you see, that is how you tell that's how you pull on a string of lore from all the way back into the current expansion. You don't do it by putting an endgame boss named Zoval and you try to retroactively connect him to everything that's happened before him. This shit was planted years ago. Zoval was planted into our assholes fucking last week, and then they tried to say he created the Lich King. That's why his lore didn't sit right with people. This kind of lore, stretching all the way back to BC, these seeds were planted a long time ago. Now, whether they, obviously, back when they made BC, they didn't know Dragon Isles was going to be an expansion coming out in 2023. But what they did was they planted the seed, and then they revisited it, and they were like, hey, we can pull on this seed a little bit and bring it up. And that's awesome. I think this is a great way this is such a cool way to bring lore from BC all the way up to the next expansion.
A fresh blood knight ready to serve her country. But I mean, of course, Dragonflight is our next expansion. She's ambitious, she's fired up, and she either does or fails to do something that made the Bronze Flight guards attack her in the Burning Crusade. We know the bronzes are going to be part of the story in Dragonflight.
Yeah, of course.
Now, I severely doubt that Salandria is going to become a villain.
Wow, that was a badass art entrance. I haven't seen that before.
Villain. Maybe
what is this? This looks like a dungeon entrance or something, or maybe a raid entrance. This is wow, holy shit, this is really cool. This is like some kind of bronze Dragonflight raid entrance, and mind you, oh, look at the hourglass. Look at that. Time related, obviously, but this could take us somewhere really cool. Oh, the stuff they could do with the bronze Dragonflight in the next expansion is limitless, because you can go back in time to any expansion and make it relevant. This is really cool. Holy crap, that's a really nice entrance.
Now, I severely doubt that Salandria is going to become a villain. Maybe she'll be just someone who makes a questionable judgment call because she's in a hard position, she's young, she doesn't have experience. Who knows? I mean, many of us do wonder how even Morzon could fit into Dragonflight. Perhaps the bronzes are onto something, and something might happen here.
Might just be an hourglass. Well, yeah, I think the hourglass is related to the fact that they're the bronze dragons, the keepers of time, all that shit. So certainly, I'd say that's why the hourglass is
just a nice slice of Blood Elf action. It's the sort of thing
Just a
that
design
grounds your
element of
character in
time.
the factions of Azeroth. It's just the sort of thing I want to see, and that I want to see Blizzard do more of. Now, while Salandria did get all of the buzz given her inclusion, I really should note that there still are a few interesting things to say about Dorna, who is the Draenei child. Basically, the same bronze
what happened to
dragon
her?
also prevented guards from attacking her with pretty much the exact same reason as Salandria. I think the only difference was that she was like fated to become a great shaman. Now, of course, the elements are going to tie pretty majorly into Dragonflight, but we've not seen Dorna yet, so maybe that'll go nowhere. As for other things, well, there's some Highborn music. I saw Wowhead post about that apparently is like in and around the length of, I think was it Samaya or Portergate you said? I forget, one of the two. Anyway,
What's up, Antgrove? Good morning.
As long as what a allied race intro usually is, so that's interesting. And look, that's mostly it.
Highborn
you
music.
may still wonder, what sword?
Allied race intro.
You may still wonder.
What could... Patch 9. Highborn music, as long he says as a... Could the Highborn be an allied race? What?
And look, that's mostly it. You may still wonder, what sword? Well,
Highborn.
Blizzard are playing with the idea of what sword themselves, and in an interview they actually did say they've got plans for it.
I don't know.
Seemingly not for Dragonflight, though, but it is something that they do have plans for. It will be a future story, so for now, no sword. What about a release date, then? I don't know shit. But I can tell you one thing. So the public test realm is currently set to Season 3. And I think that perhaps indicates that 9.2.5 is being prepared so that it can release during Season 3. So,
sure.
You know, not a few months away from now.
Cross-faction rating.
It actually mightn't be long. And, I mean, if it does come out well before Season 4, then it's not like Blizzard would have to get the new gearing systems of Season 4 completely, you know, built and perfect.
Yeah, no, I definitely think, you know, you got fated raids coming, right? I totally think Blizzard is going to implement cross-faction raiding, you know, so that way we can do it cross-factionally at fated raids as cross-factions. It's just going to make raiding so much easier, because right now, raiding on the Alliance side, I know maybe some of you guys don't play Alliance at all. I've always played Alliance. I'm playing Horde right now, but the reason is it's impossible to form up raids in a timely manner on the Alliance. So if they're going to be part of the fated raid system, they need the help of the Horde to be able to form up raids. So certainly Blizzard is going to get that implemented before the fated raid system gets released.
Some stuff going on in Azeroth. Some
PTR's on Season 4 now.
Storylines. We've got
Forsaken storyline. He released this the other day. I mean, he must be tripping.
Forsaken storyline for the Alliance, a Blood Elf storyline,
I can't wait to play all these storylines. It looks really cool.
And potentially some sort of epilogue-ish storyline going on with Tyrande. There's also, like, I think Dorothur, and there's like a few animations or whatever that were data mined, so there could be a little bit more epilogue content. I mean, there is that sort of cliffhanger thingy at the end of the Sylvanas novel where it's kind of implied that Anduin joins her in the Maw.
Right, yeah, people are talking about this, that Anduin is going to help Sylvanas out in the Maw fulfill her duty of basically saving all these souls that she sent to the Maw, which means the throne of the Alliance is currently just, it's not vacant, it's being occupied by... what's his name from the 1,000-Year War? Mr. Light Worshipper. Yeah, fuck. I don't know, man. It's too early to think of names. But he's sitting up there. Turalian, yes. Thank you. Thank you, rest please. Yeah, Turalian's sitting up there, and he's a bit of a war-hungry person, right? He's becoming more fanatical, we've seen, so that's going to cause problems for the Alliance.
We understand Anduin is going to make
Turalian,
a fairly important decision soon. So it actually could be the case that he will decide something major in patch 9.2.5. And maybe that's what some of the data mining fragments actually point towards. Some people think he might abdicate the throne, right? He might leave for a bit. Of course, citing that, you know, he's obviously a bit compromised. He's been through a hell of a time. And if Anduin was to leave the throne, Turalian, of course, would stay in his present position and be the de facto leader of the Alliance. And, of course, you'll know that we have a lot of thoughts about that we went over in a few videos in the past. So there you go. While it does not promise to be a massive
Turalian,
patch,
interesting.
9.2.5 does seem to be a patch that's giving us a nice little sprinkle of familiarity.
Yes.
The Azerothian storyline
Good to
forward.
see.
That's exactly
Good to see.
what
We
I
like
want.
familiarity.
Okay, so there you go. That's it for today's video. Of course, a big thanks to our sponsor today. You can
Yes,
check out all of their
Audible.
stuff
Check out
down
his link.
in that video description.
like I
really
said,
do support us.
I highly suggest Audible for your for getting those World of Warcraft stories.
a hell of a lot.
So damn good.
So,
I used to listen to them all the
thanks to them.
time.
And of course, thank you to you for watching
Before
today's
the
video.
Storm.
Have a great one, and I'll see you next time.
Audiobook that whole thing. It was great.